Hello and welcome to News at 10 on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor. In the big story today, we'll be looking at the drought situation in the country. Now, the Supreme Court has said it is the centre's responsibility to warn states on drought. We'll get you all the details on that. In the big international story, now we talk about the US presidential polls. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton have won big in New York primaries. All the details to follow and much more. Let us begin with the headlines. Vice President Hamid Ansari stresses on need for religious acceptance as against tolerance to maintain composite culture, says nation must guard against divisive forces. Government rollbacks the norms to bar withdrawal of employers' contribution to the Provident Fund. Decision after chain protests by labour unions across country. Drought situation worsens in several parts of the country. Supreme Court pulls up centre, says it is responsible for warning states. Prime Minister says massive efforts for water conservation to be launched as water levels in Marathwada Dam slip to 3%. China sticks to its stand on Masood Azhar, says it is based on facts. Chinese Premier tells visiting Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar that Beijing is willing to properly handle disputes with India. NSA Ajit Doval set for high-level talks today. And Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton bagged the New York primaries. Wins put both closer to securing their nomination for presidential race. Now, Vice President Hamid Ansari has stressed on the need for religious acceptance as against tolerance. Now, speaking at an award function in Delhi, the Vice President also cautioned against divisive elements, saying that people should guard against such influences.
Vice President Hamid Ansari has stressed that religious acceptance and not mere tolerance is the bedrock of India's secularism and composite culture. The Vice President also said that it is the government's solemn duty to protect and promote values and provide equality of opportunity to all religions. He was speaking at the Chisti India Harmony Awards function in New Delhi.
Harmony and acceptance, not merely tolerance, are the bedrock of India's secularism and composite culture. It is, for these reasons, the solemn duty of the government to make every possible effort to protect and promote secular values and provide equality of opportunity to all religions, majority and minority.
He noted that India's constitutional values of secularism and liberty of thought, expression, faith and worship are premised on the existential reality of its society. He also said that the need of the hour is to be alert against groups and individuals who are trying to divide the country in the name of religion, language and culture.
Should be vigilant against such forces that seek to exploit our diversity in religion, language and culture to divide our people. We have to remain alert and raise our voice against groups and individuals who use violence in the name of religion.
Journalist Kuldeep Nayyar, author Narendra Luthar, well-known Urdu poets Panditan Mohan Zutshi, Gulzar Dehelvi, and author and historian Rana Safvi were awarded at the function organized by the India Harmony Foundation. The foundation was established by former Cabinet Secretary, the late Zafar Saifullah. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And the other big story of the day, the government has rolled back its order tightening rules for withdrawal of Provident Fund money. Now, the decision of rollback comes within hours of keeping in abeyance the decision for 3 more months. The move was prompted after a chain of protests from labour unions across the country. The protest in Bangalore particularly turned violent on Tuesday. It was the second day of protests in the city, with the unions saying that the move was anti-worker. In the city, garment industry workers torched several buses and attacked a police station, protesting against the tightening of rules. As per the new amendments, employees would have been able to withdraw only their contribution to their PF accounts. The employer's contribution could be withdrawn only after the employee turns 58. Now, online campaigns against the decision had also been launched. The decision was to be implemented from 10th of February but was later put on hold till 30th of April. Now it has been put in abeyance till 31st of July.
We are cancelling that notification. With this, now the old system will continue. That is, the contribution of the employer, 12%, can avail by employee at any time. Now this decision which I have taken will be ratified in the Central Board of Trustees meeting.
Now, news from Uttarakhand, where the High Court, in a stinging remark against the centre, said that by imposing President's rule, it was taking away the powers of an elected government and introducing chaos. The High Court also observed that a floor test cannot be deprived of its sanctity. The division bench of the court repeatedly maintained that irrespective of allegations of horse trading and corruption, the only constitutional way to test majority was to hold a floor test, which you still have to go for. The bench was hearing arguments on the petition challenging the imposition of President's rule filed by the ousted Chief Minister Harish Rawat and related pleas. The arguments will continue today as well. The centre also faced searching questions from the court, which observed that if the reasons for imposition of Article 356 in the case, where ruling parties are different at the centre and the state, are accepted, then it may lead to the central government watching with a magnifying glass where there's an opportunity for President's rule.
Essentially, a difference was pointed out between the situations that have happened in the Bommai judgment, Rameshwar judgment, and the current case in Uttarakhand. The difference being that those were cases of dissolution of the assembly. Whereas in this particular case, it is a case of suspended animation. It's not a dissolution of the House. Additionally, the events and the facts relating to the 18th, whereby the appropriation bill was not passed, the role played by the Speaker, which by no standards can be considered as a model behavior by a Speaker, of declaring an appropriation bill as passed, was pointed out. Thereafter, what was seen in the media also, the issues related to horse trading, allurement, these were some of the arguments that were reiterated among the other legal points.
On to the big story of the day. With the drought situation worsening in the country, the Supreme Court on Tuesday pulled up the centre for not doing enough to deal with the situation. The court said that as it is the centre's responsibility to warn states about a possible crisis. Meanwhile, the severity of the water crunch in Maharashtra deepened with only 3% water left in dams of a drought-hit Marathwada region. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that a massive effort will be launched for water conservation. The Supreme Court on Tuesday pulled up the centre on the drought situation in the country, saying it was centre's responsibility to warn states about the possibility of such a situation. The centre had informed the court that 256 districts of 10 states were affected due to drought and that it was releasing money to the affected states to tackle the crisis. The apex court said the centre should adopt modern technology to assess drought situation in states instead of following eye estimation.
Today, in the Supreme Court, on the petition of Swaraj Abhiyan, the government admitted that yes, this drought affects more than 250 districts. It affects more than 30 crore population of this country. Today, the various governments of the country have woken up to the reality of drought.
Meanwhile, the severity of the water crunch in Maharashtra has deepened with only 3% water left in dams of drought-hit Marathwada region. 8 of the region's 11 major dams are at dead storage level, meaning water from these dams cannot flow out but has to be lifted. The government says it will use groundwater stock and has already cut water supply to the industries. The worst affected Latur is getting supply by a special water train, but situation in rest of the region remains grim.
एग्रीगेट पिक्चर 3% का है, लेकिन इंडिविजुअल डैम अगर देखा तो उसमें बहुत ही पानी कम है और आउट ऑफ 11 बड़े प्रोजेक्ट्स के इसमें 5-6 प्रोजेक्ट्स ऐसे कि जहां कुछ भी पानी नहीं है, पूरे ड्राई हो चुके हैं.
In a tragic incident on Tuesday, a 12-year-old girl died of a heart attack and dehydration in the Beed district of Marathwada. Yogita Desai, a class 5th student, collapsed on her 5th visit to get water from a hand pump 500 meters away from her house. Uttar Pradesh has also been facing adverse drought situation with around 9 crore people affected in 50 districts. UP Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav accused the centre of turning a blind eye to the Bundelkhand drought. Rajasthan is also in the grip of a water crisis, with 19 out of the 33 districts being drought affected. With various parts of the country witnessing drought, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday said a massive effort will be launched for water conservation and storage under Manrega in the next couple of months. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. Meanwhile, in related news, a scorching heat wave continues to sweep many parts of India, with the temperature crossing 40 degrees Celsius in several states. The Met Department has predicted that it is only likely to go up by 1 or 2 degrees in the next 2 to 3 days, particularly in Western India, Telangana and Rayalaseema.
Deadly heat wave conditions continue to grip several parts of the country, while Odisha continues to top the list of hottest states, Vidarbha and Marathwada regions of Maharashtra are also not far behind. In Odisha, Sonpur recorded the highest temperature at a scorching 46 degrees Celsius. The state government has asked all schools in the state to remain closed till April 26th. Uttar Pradesh too continues to reel under severe heat, with temperatures hovering around 40 to 43 degrees Celsius in most parts of the state. East Madhya Pradesh, Bihar and Punjab are also reeling under blazing hot weather conditions.
गर्मी तो बहुत बढ़ रही है, घर से बाहर निकलना मुश्किल होता जा रहा है और हम इसके लिए थोड़ा गन्ने का जूस पीते हैं, नींबू पानी पीते हैं और लू से बचने के लिए हम लोग प्याज वगैरह पूरा कवर करके चलते हैं हमेशा।
आम का परस पीकर, पन्ना पीकर, तो ठंडा चीज के पीकर उसको हम रात ठंडा पानी पीकर रात पार से आम और ये सब पाते हैं। फिर उसके बाद में तो पगड़ी बांधकर तो मुंह में रुमाल बांधकर ये हम लोग जा रहे हैं। और चश्मा लगा लेते हैं, आँख में धूप लगती है, एकदम कुछ एकदम मिल नहीं रहा है।
In Telangana, the highest maximum temperature of 44 degrees Celsius was recorded at Adilabad, Nalgonda and Nizamabad. Met officials have issued a fresh heat wave warning for the next 2 days. Thunderstorm and hail are also predicted, but it is unlikely to mitigate the situation. The state also launched a portal which would provide information on heat wave predictions.
Given the forecast for next 2 days, heat wave warning for coastal Rayalaseema and Telangana, and also thunderstorm accompanied by squall-like hail. We have given the warning for 2 days to Telangana and Rayalaseema.
It was a hot and dry day in Delhi as well, with the maximum temperature registered at 40.2 degrees Celsius, 3 notches above normal. In Haryana, Hisar registered a high of 41.5 degrees Celsius. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
More news on climate change. Well, India will once again take up issues such as the declaration of enhanced emission targets by developed world at the high-level signing ceremony of Paris Agreement on 22nd of April. Minister of State for Environment Prakash Javadekar has said that India would showcase its own moves in combating climate change, such as the target of achieving 175 gigawatts of renewable energy by 2022, moving to Bharat 6 emission norms from Bharat 4 norms, and taxing diesel vehicles and SUV cars. He further said that the developed world could take a leaf out of India's book and tax coal production in their countries to raise the resources for the Green Climate Fund, under which developed countries are expected to contribute $100 billion annually from 2020. Over 130 countries besides India are expected to sign this agreement.
We will put up 3 points across in UN on 22nd April. First is that we expect that developed world must now declare their enhanced ambition, enhanced commitments for second Kyoto Protocol commitment. Second is mobilizing $100 billion. Is still in only discussions. There is no concrete action plan laid out. Technology support, ultimately fight
against the climate change is all about technology. Technology will bring solutions, and that technology must be easily available and affordable.
We'll slip into a very short break here, but we'll be back with more news. Stay with us.
There has been a bar bribery scandal, then a solar scam. Because of all these scams, your party's image has taken a beating.
Allegations and the truth are two different things.
Kerala Congress is the most mismanaged unit amongst all the state congresses. Do you believe so?
They are all appreciating us, and it is a model to other states.
First time, BJP is saying that they probably might be the kingmaker.
The Kerala people's mind is not with BJP.
Watch our special episode of To The Point with Kerala Chief Minister Ruman Chandy on the campaign trail, only on Rajya Sabha television.
नेहरू कप बोट रेस केरल के अलापुया में हर साल आयोजित होती है ये नौका दौड़, जिसमें शामिल होती है करीब 100 फीट लंबी सर्प आकृति की सजी धजी दर्जन भर नौकाएं। हर नौका पर सवार होते हैं 100 चप्पू चालक, 4 नाविक और 25 गायक। 1 किलोमीटर की इस नौका दौड़ को देखने के लिए हर साल जुटते हैं लाखों देशी विदेशी दर्शक।
Welcome back. The big international story now. And Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton have won crucial victories in New York presidential primaries. Results are still coming in, but Trump looks set to extend his lead over rivals Ted Cruz and John Kasich. He thus moves closer to capturing enough delegates to win the party's White House nomination and avoid a contested convention in July. Meanwhile, Democratic hopeful Hillary Clinton, a former senator for New York, is on course to defeat Bernie Sanders. Although Clinton continues to have a sizable lead in delegates, the New York race comes after Sanders has won 8 of the last Democratic contests. Now, New York presidential primaries are seen as a key for both the Republican and Democratic frontrunners after their recent defeats. Wins will put Clinton and Trump closer to securing their nominations.
We don't have much of a race anymore based on what I'm seeing on television. Senator Cruz is just about mathematically eliminated, and we've won another state. As you know, we have won millions of more votes than Senator Cruz, millions and millions of more votes than Governor Kasich. We've won, and now, especially after tonight, close to 300 delegates more than Senator Cruz. We're really, really rocking.
In this campaign, we've won in every region of the country. From the north to the south, to the east, to the west, but this one's personal. New Yorkers, you've always had my back.
And back home, the government has clarified its stand on the Kohinoor diamond after it told the Supreme Court that the jewel was not stolen but was gifted to the British. Now, in a statement released on Tuesday night, it said that it is yet to convey its stand on the matter to the court, that it will make all efforts to bring back the valued diamond.
After the furor over its earlier stand that the Kohinoor diamond was not stolen but was gifted, the government has come out with a clarification. In a statement released late on Tuesday night, the centre has said, and I quote, "The Solicitor General of India was asked to seek the views of the Government of India, which has not yet been conveyed. The Solicitor General of India informed the Honourable Court about the history of the diamond and gave an oral statement on the basis of the existing references made available by the ASI. Thus, it should be reaffirmed that the Government of India has not yet conveyed its views to the court, contrary to what is being misrepresented. With regard to the Kohinoor diamond too, the government of India remains hopeful for an amicable outcome whereby India gets back a valued piece of art with strong roots in our nation's history.
London Solicitor General argued that the Kohinoor was gifted by the government. At that time, Dalip Singh was the owner of that diamond, and my objection was, if this fact is wrong, it was never gifted. It was just fraudulently obtained by the Britishers.
The government statement came a day after the Solicitor General told the Supreme Court that the Kohinoor cannot be said to have been forcibly taken or stolen, as it was given by the successors of Maharaja Ranjit Singh to East India Company in 1849 as compensation for helping them in the Sikh wars. The stand came during the hearing of a PIL which sought government action for the return of the over $200 million Kohinoor diamond from the UK.
I'm very happy that the Prime Minister has given the instructions and listened to the voice of the people. And we are very happy now that this matter is going to be resolved by an amicable way. Yes, we want good relations with Britain, and therefore we would like it back.
उसको वापस लाने की कोशिश होनी चाहिए, लेकिन ये अच्छा है कि भारत सरकार ने किसी तरह का दबाव देने के बजाय ये कहा है कि हम बातचीत के जरिए या दोस्ताना संबंध बनाकर ही हम उसको वापस लाने का प्रयास करेंगे.
The centre has gone on to say that since the Narendra Modi government came to power, 3 significant pieces of India's history have come back home. In October 2015, German Chancellor Angela Merkel returned a 10th century Indian statue of goddess Durga that was stolen in 1990 and found in 2012 at a museum in Germany. In April 2015, then Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper returned a sculpture known as a Parrot Lady, which dates back to almost 900 years. Then Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott, on his India visit in 2014, had returned antique statues of Hindu deities that were in Australian art galleries. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now an update on Kashmir situation, and the municipal authorities removed 4 security force bunkers in Handwara's main market in North Kashmir. Now this was a long pending demand of residents of the town. A board was also erected on the premises of the bunker, marking the place for conversion to a public park. The locals had been demanding removal of the bunkers for quite some time, but the army had said that they were strategically important for the troops. Meanwhile, Jammu and Kashmir police has arrested 1 person in connection with the alleged molestation case of a girl in Handwara. Hilal Ahmed Bande, one of the 2 accused identified, was arrested earlier. Now, curfew in Handwara town was relaxed while restrictions in Kupwara continued for the 8th consecutive day. No major clashes were, however, reported.
तो 133 के तहत इसको गिरा दिया गया क्योंकि बिल्डिंग इज अनसेफ है ना. आफ्टर दैट द गवर्नमेंट विल टेक अ डिसीजन कि क्या करना है इसको. इसके लिए कमेटी बनी हुई है, वो रिपोर्ट जाएगी ऊपर कि भाई क्या करना है. फाइनली पार्क बनाना है कि इसको एक टूरिस्ट फैसिलिटेशन सेंटर बनाए कि खिदमत सेंटर बनाए, है ना. तो अभी ऑप्शन खुले हैं.
Moving on in the bulletin now, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval is all set to begin high-level talks with China on the issue of boundary and other strategic issues amid the new strains between the 2 countries over China blocking the listing of Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Masood Azhar at the United Nations Security Council. Now, a day before Doval's visit, a Chinese official said that they were in communication with India over the issue, but reiterated their stand that placing the hold was done in accordance with the facts. Now, amid a string of diplomatic exchanges, China has described its ties with India as a factor in promoting a multipolar world, as well as an important component for fostering stability in the region. The Chinese Premier Li Keqiang told Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar during a meeting on Tuesday that Beijing is willing to properly handle its disputes with India, as cooperation between the 2 countries will be a great engine for Asia's development and send a positive signal for world peace. He also expressed hope that defence departments and armed forces of China and India will strengthen exchanges, dialogue and communication to jointly maintain stability and peace in border areas and create a good condition for the development of bilateral ties. Let's get to the big international story now. The death toll from the 7.8 magnitude Ecuador quake is 480 currently, but it is expected to rise. According to the latest government tallies, 107 people are still missing and more than 4,000 are injured. Now, President Rafael Correa traveled by helicopter to survey the devastated towns. His helicopter also carried aid as well as a team of rescue workers, including Chilean firefighters with the experience of dealing with the earthquakes. Nearly 400 rescue workers flew in from countries in Latin America, along with 83 specialists from Switzerland and Spain. The quake, which is Ecuador's worst in decades, destroyed about 1,500 buildings, triggered mudslides and left some 20,500 people sleeping in shelters.
Muchas personas decían que ya era mucho tiempo, tal vez ya para qué seguir haciendo el trabajo. Pero Dios es grande y ahí está la oportunidad. Encontramos una persona con vida y por qué no, eso nos da fuerza para seguir todavía aquí hasta que terminemos.
Mucho dolor, un sentimiento interno, son hermanos ecuatorianos, son familia nuestra también. Todos somos de Ecuador aquí, entonces estamos tratando de que por lo menos esas personas, sus cadáveres salgan, ¿no? Y tengan una paz. Posterior sean enterrados como deberían con sus familias.
Hasta el momento en el reporte de fallecidos tenemos 149 personas fallecidas, 169 cuerpos que han sido, más bien dicho, encontrados bajo escombros y aproximadamente 1.035 atenciones médicas que se han dado por heridos, por politraumatismos y otro tipo de enfermedades específicas producto del terremoto del día sábado.
Let's now get you some more news from across the globe in World Wrap. At least 44 people have been killed and dozens are hurt in Syrian government airstrikes on markets in two rebel-held towns in Idlib province. Escalating violence in the country in recent days has left a 7-week partial truce on the verge of collapse. Syrian opposition umbrella group has suspended its participation from UN-led peace talks in Geneva. However, the Syrian government has accused rebel groups of violating the truce. A replica of the Syrian monument destroyed by the Islamic State in Syria has been erected in London's Trafalgar Square. The scale model of the Arch of Triumph has been made from Egyptian marble using a 3D technology. It will travel to cities around the world after leaving London. Syria's Director of Antiquities said that it was an action of solidarity. US President Barack Obama has embarked upon a visit to Saudi Arabia as part of his three-nation tour. The visit comes at a time of strained relations between the US and Gulf countries over its rapprochement with Iran. The Sunni Gulf allies feared Shia rival. During his tour, apart from meeting King Salman, US President Barack Obama will sit with leaders from Gulf Cooperation Council countries. Later in the week, he will travel to the UK and Germany. Cuban revolutionary leader Fidel Castro, at a speech to the Communist Party, said that he was nearing the end of his life and to help his ideas survive. Castro spoke as the government announced that his brother Raul Castro will retain the Cuban Communist Party's highest post alongside his hardline second in command. The Communist Party wants to avoid any chaotic collapse as it wrestles with economic change and a transition from the generation of leaders who fought in the 1959 revolution. A United Nations meeting on worldwide drug policy has opened in New York in what has been billed as the most significant of such conferences in years. The summit will try to rethink a global strategy. However, divisions among members have been laid bare, with some countries favoring decriminalization, others are still punishing drug taking with the death penalty. The three-day special session was requested by Colombia, Mexico and Guatemala, who have seen spiraling drug violence. Well, that's all in this edition of news. Thanks so much for watching.